I'll do the best I can. That's as good as it gets.
You know that you're the setup, so you know you can actually record. There's a record button on Zoom that records it for you, right?
Is there?
Go into the bar. Yeah, go into the bar.
Yeah.
Next to share screen, you'll see a record button.
I've got stop video, participants, chats, reactions, share, whiteboard, and then more. So have a look at more.
Hit more.
Yeah. No, it's just got background effects. I don't think it'll do it on here. It's alright. Don't worry about it. I'll record it.
Alright, I've hit my record button. It says, please ask the host to give you permission to record.
Okay. So is it going to send me a little message or something? Hang on.
Do you want to be co-host?
Oh, that might be an option, yeah. That might be an option. I'm not sure how you do that though. Not 100% sure how to do that. It's alright, it's okay. I'm recording it on the other... I've got another phone, so I'll record it on that. It's okay. Don't stress about it. I do a load of notes anyway. So it's alright. It's okay. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Everybody good?
Yeah.
I can tell Tracy's stressed out. She's ready to go.
There's not enough time in the day.
No.
I was up, obviously, doing the business till 3 o'clock this morning, and
Yeah.
now I've just been notified that the car to take me to the airport's picking me up at 3 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Oh,
so
Jesus Christ. You need to have a sleep.
Get on that plane, lay the bed down, and sleep all the way to Dubai, I think.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Get yourself a glass of wine and just curl up and go to sleep. So I'll just introduce Danny. So Danny is the TV producer. That is Danny. There you go. So
Danny and I've had a chat.
yeah, so not everybody's met Danny, but most people have met Danny now, I think. So yeah, we're just having a meeting today just to discuss the TV show, really. I don't need to go over sales and stuff with people. I don't need to bother with that because I know what everybody's up to. So yeah, so we're just sort of trying to come up with a way of filming it so it's a little bit cheaper and we get it done quicker. And so far, I think Suri is confirmed that she's available to use a couple of her buyers. I think Callie's got people lined up as well. So I think we've got at least 2 couples, and I think Raoul should have somebody else as well. Raoul's asking me for the link now. Give me a second. I'm just going to turn my camera off. But Danny, if you want to take over, while I'm just trying to fanny around with this thing, okay?
Oh, thank God he's gone.
I know, yeah.
So, Guy and myself and a couple of others have been in discussions over the course of about 2.5 years to try and get this off the ground. There was a little thing that happened in the interim, something to do with COVID or whatever, that sort of put it on the back burner a little bit. However, I feel like it's actually worked in our favour because the first-time buyer market actually at the moment is a little more scary than it has been in the past, which plays in our favour because the whole emphasis or the whole reason for doing this is to try and dispel all of the myths behind first home ownership and how easy it can actually be if you follow a certain steps or rules or whatever. So I think we've got a really good chance at it at the moment to get it done. Basically what we're aiming to do is have a launch of 6 episodes, each half an hour long. And each of those episodes will focus on one couple or family or whatever sort of group we've got buying their first house. And we look retrospectively at how they went about it. So it's mainly interview-based. And then we take that interview, cut it up into a narrative which runs throughout the whole story, throughout the whole episode, from start to finish. So it might be from deciding to buy a house to moving in and having a housewarming party and everything in between. So we're trying to bring in things like the family element, what the people were doing before they bought the house. Raul looks like he's connected. Hey, Raul.
Yeah, hi, how are you?
Good, mate. How are you?
All good.
I was just saying that everybody gets a pay rise except Rahul, but we're cool now, so he's on. So, Guy. So, in a nutshell, it's a feel-good story, and for it to actually work from an entertainment point of view, we've got to be fairly diligent in how we source our talent. They've got to be someone that we can elicit emotion from. They've got to be someone with a story to tell. And they've got to be people which people can relate to when they watch them. So Guy sort of suggested maybe we use an investor as well, but I kind of kiboshed that idea only because it's out of our demographic to launch with an investor. Investors are hard to get emotion from because it's dollars and cents rather than it's a house, not a home. And there is a huge difference with what comes through on the screen.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, so I'm appealing generally for family situations.
Yeah, you will not find in that sense of involvement through the investors. If you
No.
put that on the screen, so for the screen part, make it effective. It should be the involvement. It should come on your face, their tones, their modulation, everything.
Absolutely. So I suppose our mission statement from the very get-go was all about diversity, different types of couples, different races, all sorts of diversity. I think 2022 we've really got a chance to show that everybody is affected by this show and can be affected by this show. So we're looking for every single type of first home buyer that we can get our hands on. And the more diverse, the better the stories are. So Guy sort of came to us with this idea in 1973, it feels like.
Yeah, that's right.
When before I was born, actually.
Yeah.
Just. And we've been around it for so long, it feels fairly fleshed out. I think we've discussed the ins and outs of it so often that it's just become sort of really, it's structurally sound.
Yeah.
All we need now is to get a whole lot of money off Guy, like a ton of money, an insane money, and get the cameras rolling and get this on a network. So effectively, all of the talk needs to sort of turn into cameras rolling at the moment. But before we do that, it's absolutely imperative that we get that buy-in via our buyers. And, you guys are in a unique situation. You know these people. You've dealt with them. There's obviously some form of emotional overflow that happens when you get people into their new house. And I want to elicit that from you. And where was that really good feeling? Where did you leave a transaction with a client that was just fabulous? You really ticked all their boxes and they were wonderful to deal with and really nice people. They're the ones that we want on screen.
Yeah, for sure. What was I going to say to you? Yeah, I think we probably will end up with enough. I think Raul's got a couple of people, Suri's got a couple of people, Callie's got a couple. We might need one or two more. It's a good chance that Tracy will have somebody that's possibly in a slightly different league or buying something slightly different. That might be an option. I'm not sure.
So, I know, guys, sorry, this is completely different to the discussions we've had. I know that we discussed that this is where you started with your strategy.
Yeah.
And after all the conversations we've had about the diversity of how much money you leave on the table, if you just focus on that one thing for the show, and now we seem to be back to the 6 episodes of the same thing.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to figure it out because the original.
Well, I need to know I'm on a plane at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning with a strategy that we talked about to pitch it to some pretty heavy hitters that sit in Dubai. So I just need to be really clear on what it is that we think we're doing, because I can't sell this as it is. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Well, part of the idea as well that Danny and I had a discussion the other day about breaking the fourth wall and actually talking about the business itself and how that works and all that interplay, and that's partly where you come into it as well, because we can feature you in the show with what you're doing and that other company that you mentioned for the sponsorship side. So we'll have that in as part of the storyline, because if they do end up sponsoring the TV show or partly sponsoring the TV show, we've got to feature them anyway. That was already built into the original format.
Look, I understand that, but I was just, throwing it out there to say it's great to have one first homeowners, but then everyone else who's not won't be attracted to the show. Whereas when you're thinking about purchasing property, you've got all the aspects from first home buyers, second, how does a buyer's agent help you find your diamond in the rough? Third, what does scaling from first to second to third look like? How do you finance that? Once you've got your own property, what does it look like to leverage that to do with property portfolio investment?
Yeah.
Right. So that, and then number 6, high-end purchasing. And if you start from this, it's the full journey of property ownership from day one through investments, buying, right? And so then it appeals to the entire market.
Yeah.
And this is what we look at when we sponsor things, is what market are we attaching ourselves to? And if it's just the first home, you're leaving millions of dollars on the table for everybody else who's not a first home buyer.
Yeah, I think you make.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I think you raise a valid point, because the last couple of programs that have been made about property recently have been stuff that mixes in the high end stuff.
Percentage.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but they also they've also lost a lot of following because people can't relate.
Yeah. So you've got both ends of the spectrum. You've got the first time buyer end, where somebody's trying to entry level get something that's 400,000 or 500,000, and then you've got the other way, the other scale, where it's a couple of $1 million and it's a penthouse or whatever it is somewhere in Sydney. So you've got, but with the company at the moment, we cover both aspects. We've got access to stock on every level. Now, whether or not we've got the clients lined up to be featured on a TV show is a different story. I know we've got the entry level people.
Our connections, we can get the clients.
If you can get the clients, and we can, you're pretty confident. There you go. You get the clients, right? Then we haven't got an issue. We can go from start to finish. The main focus of the TV show is whoever's involved in the buying process. I don't want it to be all about me and how wonderful I am and how wonderful my company is. I want it to be about the client and what we do for the client. So whether they're
I get it, but you're telling 6 of the same story. So if I'm not a first home buyer, I'm not watching this show.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I do know what you're saying.
It doesn't relate to me because but if there's journeys of all different things, having a look at where people are in the market, you've got your first home buyers, you've got your second to thirds, and you've got your investors, and then you've got your high end and all of those things.
Yeah.
And if the TV show, like when I write a book, it's all about lead generation. The story gets lead generation.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So that's why when I pitch it to someone, here's the audience. We go, every person in the segment of property life cycle.
I agree with that. It's a good idea.
6 brand new couples buying houses, they're like,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
An audience percent. I'm just doing the business side.
Yeah, no,
Sorry, guys. I don't know if to rain on the parade, but
No, I agree.
Sorry, Danny. We sort of had this conversation before, but the thing is, people need to know that my real estate advisor does everything.
Yeah.
Not just first home buying.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're leaving millions on the table. That's all I'm saying. Because if it's just first home buyers, then I can't pitch this to you.
Let me. There's 2 ways we can do this. We can completely go with what you're saying and change the show to reflect everything. In my opinion, that's, from an entertainment point of view, very hard to garner an audience because you're virtually changing everything every week. Or we can try and get this one done on air and then pitch to your potential clients the added external arm of this, which is perhaps season 2, which is much different in terms of we, instead of our first home unlocked, we could say our property journey unlocked, for example, and have much more variation in where that looks, what it looks like, and all that sort of thing. Once we've actually got episodes to show them, and they're buying a product rather than a promise, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But obviously, the stuff that we would show as far as investment is the new stock, because we've got new avenues now, not just the home build stuff that we've just signed this week, right, Guy?
Oh yeah, well, we've got access to apartments and all sorts of different developments all over the place. So yeah, we've got a lot of variation. I think if you've got the core storyline of you've got couples buying their first home and everything, but because we're not, like, originally before we were going to have multiple sponsors, so there was going to be a lot of cutting in between. This is the bricklayer, this is the joiner, this is the cement guy, blah, 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 blah. And we got around about 23 minutes or 24 minutes or something an episode to play with. But instead of, no, less than that.
We've got 21 and a half.
21 and a half minutes per episode to play with. Right, so before we were going to try and put a lot of different sponsors into it and try and put that into the storyline as well. I think we can have the core story of, you know, you've got your first time buyers and that's all wonderful and they have the house built and we can use stock image and we can do the interviews and all the rest of it. But we can also, as I said before, breaking the fourth wall side of it, talk about what else the business does and who it does it for and not that kind of thing, and then bring those people into the mix as well. Because if, let's say...
You could also move the story that says my first home buyer, but also my first investment purchase, my first, and you can...
There's a lot, yeah, there's a lot of first. There's a lot of my first investment property, my first this, that and the other, yeah. There's a lot... It covers a lot of ground, the first part does, because you've got that first bit in the title, so that covers a lot of ground. And you're using the word home. We're not specifying the type of home it is either, so there you go. So you're all good in that sense. So I would do... What I've seen from the other stuff is they are talking about their business and what they're doing and who they mix with and what the clients are up to and stuff like that. Now, we've got a bread and butter stuff, which is your first-time buyers, which we do deal with a lot of first-time buyers, to be fair. That is probably 50% of the business. We've got a lot of investors as well. So we can come to a bit of a compromise where we're featuring a bit of everything, but you've got your core part of the original series, which is what we wanted to do. As I said, when I emailed Danny the other day and I said, look, you know, that sizzle reel that we made, I would like to incorporate that into the TV show to say, well, you know, this is the original thing that we wanted to do, and maybe series 2 we might be doing a bit of that. The other thing is, there is a possibility to do spin-off stuff and record other stuff as well and do different types of series, because we've got access to so much stock in lots of different locations and different things. We can do things like that as well. But I think what we need to do is you've got your original plan, and we keep sort of trying to alter it to fit in with what's going on. And, you know, the market has changed. We have got less first-time buyers than we used to. So I think we need to come up with like a bit of amalgamation, but also as Danny says, you've got to have your core story running throughout it. You know, this is the journey that people have gone on. Where, you know, if it's
and that's a great my first journey. My first journey's good.
Yeah.
Right? But
it
people don't want to see my first journey of the same thing 6 times over is sort of, I don't know, from what we see. But like I said, if it's, you know, and this is my first journey into investing or my first journey into whatever, it's still anchored around all the properties that we now sell. And
the first thing is very important.
Yeah.
That's the excitement part, because if you do buy your first home, it is exciting. If you do manage to buy an investment property,
it's even more excited when they start to build their first investment property, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
As well, like there's even more excitement in now I bought my first home. What does it look like if I buy my first investment? Because
I agree.
You see a lot of this self-help stuff at the moment. You know, every wealth coach will tell you 90% of the billionaires have got property, so it's a really good avenue.
Well,
you know, it tells people who are scared, I suppose, how to do the first one, right?
But the thing is with this, because we're sort of paying for it ourselves, unless this company does jump in and start throwing money at us, I'm more leaning towards making it about the business and how the business runs and who's involved with the business. Because if I'm paying for it all, which it looks like it's going to end up being me paying for it, then I might as well get as much of my money's worth out of it as possible. I'm happy to do the people in the show buying their first home, and that's all wonderful and that's great, because that's who we're looking after and all that kind of thing. But at the same time, I like the idea of breaking the fourth wall and saying, well, after we've done this show, it's going to go to where we know we're going to get a lot of people that are going to want to come work for us. We know that we're going to get a lot of builders that are going to want to do business with us. And you're talking about that, about how things are going to change because you've gone to the effort to make the TV show. And that's a little bit that goes into it. But it's still interesting because you've still got people out there that own their own business, that work in real estate, that work in finance, that they are a builder. And they'll be scrutinising it and they'll be going, oh yeah, that's interesting. He bothered to push the boat out and make that TV show. And then he's brought this training lady in and look what she's doing. And look at all the different people he works with. And look at, yes, there you go. Look, it's, and look at what he's done for these. Yeah, exactly. Just keep doing that all the time. But you've got a bit of everything there. I think you've got to keep it relatable, because you do have to have your first time buyers in there to keep it relatable to the general public.
100%.
But you should also not leave out the other people that are looking to buy an investment property, are looking to scale up or whatever it is they're trying to do. So I think there's room because there isn't a load of sponsors. I think there's a little bit more wiggle room with how we make the first series. The second series after that, I would say I would probably stick to the original format, but I would have a spin-off series about the business and the business interplay with all the different types of levels, because I think we can do that. I would rather do have a bit of mix.
The reality is the audience is going to tell you what they want.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So when we build strategy, we always put the customer in the center of everything we do. So once you've done the first series, you'll see where people are giving you feedback, fans, not fans. Everyone wants to tell you what you're doing wrong, as you know, when you do anything like that.
Yeah.
And all the rest of it. So I reckon that the feedback and the following that Series 1 gets will drive what we actually do in Series 2. Because we can assume that that's what people will want to see in Series 2, but we might be pleasantly surprised when we get, customer feedback saying, oh, I'd love you to teach us how to do something else, because you'll get a lot of that too, right? So
Oh,
the viewers will actually drive.
Well, there's a ton of different aspects to it. There's a ton of different things that we do. I mean, for example, we might mention during an episode that people can use a self-managed super fund to buy a property, and most people don't know that. So all of a sudden, because you've mentioned something like that people don't know much about, they'll think you're the expert on it and they'll contact you about it. So there's things like that where
that'll be part of the wealth segment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and to be fair, like it's a very valid point. If I get a first time buyer in, right? Let's say Raoul signs somebody up and they are a first time buyer and he's done a deal and they're happy as Larry, and we film those people. We want repeat business from them anyway. So we want them to buy an investment property. We want them to use a self-managed super fund. We want to try and help these people generate wealth. I don't want to just, do the standard real estate agent thing and wave them off into the distance. Right, bye, I've got my money, cheerio. I don't want to do that. I'd rather stick with them and try and help them. Not be pushy, but just say to them, look, there's another option. So I think we've got to keep a bit of an open mind and also play it by ear, what reaction you do get from somebody who's going to sponsor it overseas. If they do decide to sponsor it, and happy days. If they don't, then, we'll go with the original plan and go with what we were going to do. We're still going to feature as many people that are in with the organisation as possible, because you don't want it to look like there's two people working there. It's me and Danny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've got to have we've got to hire out an office and stick a load of people in it and do stuff. So that was the plan.
Absolutely.
Danny, did you want to add anything into that, mate? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not working in an office with you.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I've just got this like perfect family behind me all day, every day. It's a nightmare. They just stare at me. You know what I mean?
I think the best way around this particular problem that's just been discussed is just to use a breakout segment within the show on a topic, a different topic every single episode.
Yeah.
So, for example, if your investors show an appetite for X, let's put it in one of the episodes. If they show an appetite for Y, let's do a breakout where we investigate what that looks like with people that have done it, how they did it, the shortcuts to it, and incorporate that as just a breakout section within the show.
Yeah.
There's a lot on this type of television, and we have got the ability to be fairly agile in that respect, and that could be our journey every single week. There's something different that we're sort of focusing on, and that could be an entry point for your investors to come in and, you know, wet their whistle and go from there. And that's just a case of probably interviewing the people that have done that particular thing. What they say, make it into a story, offset it with meeting with Guy and the team, etc., and we'll just place it like a segment within the show. So it has its own graphics pack, it's got a musical sting into it. People know it's going to happen after the second break of every episode. It comes in, bang, there it is. Oh, wow, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, I like that. That keeps you on your toes as well. So you know, because I've watched stuff like location, and you do have different entry levels on that TV show. Like there's people that are first time buyers, you've got the people that are scaling up. But if you break it up with something else that's a bit different, it does make that a bit more punchy. It makes it a bit more interesting. If you're in a different location with different people talking about slightly different subjects, but it's still on the same, you know, it's still in the same parameters of it's about real estate or finance or whatever it is. It still works within the show. Yeah, I think that's probably the best compromise that we can come up with to keep everybody happy. So, like, you know, Tracy gets her own segment saying how wonderful she is, and you know, then we go, and then we go back to what we were doing.
Oh, God. Really? I didn't think that was in the agenda, but hey, I'll take it.
Within 8 seconds of the show,
Hey, go me.
Yeah, there you go. But as I say, I mean, you know, I wanted to put the competitions into it. I wanted to do the text to win thing. I still want to do all those things because ultimately, we estimated we could probably generate 200,000 leads off the back of this TV show. So that's the reason to do it. It isn't just to be on TV and all that brand awareness. We also can generate business out of the TV show anyway by doing holiday giveaways or whatever. So there's a lot of things that we can do anyway. So yeah, it's going to make money either way, really, to be fair. But I think, yeah, we try and make it as interesting and as broad as possible, but keep your main narrative running through it of this is the experience that people go on. You know what I mean? And you can still include first stuff. I think that's really important, the first side of it, because that keeps it fresh and exciting. If I bought 10 investment properties, to be honest with you, I'm not going to want to be on a TV show or give a shit. So, whereas if it's my first one, yeah, probably I'm going to be up for that. You know what I mean? And if it's my first home, I am going to be up for that. But yeah, if I'm like a seasoned veteran of buying property, then to be honest with you, I haven't got the time or the money, you know, waste my time going on a TV show if I own 10 houses. So yeah, but yeah, I think yeah. So is everybody happy with that as a bit of a plan? Has anybody got anything to add?
Why don't we go in and see what they think about what we've just discussed? Because they're the people in the field. They've got their finger on the pulse of people that are coming into your business and who we're trying to.
What, the agents?
Yeah.
Okay. Raul, anybody else got anything they want to add or anything else like that they want to talk about? Because we're running out of time, by the way. We've got about 10
I'll
minutes.
just say one thing. There are 6 episodes. Okay, each episode will be emphasizing different things.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know, like, what will be the anticipated date or time of this first episode where you are focusing on the first-home buyers, because this is not the market at the moment. First-home buyers are very eager. They are holding up everything.
Mm-hmm.
So the timing is very important when you are going to air this episode, because when first-home buyers are in the market, they are just in a fair section. They are not opening up.
Mm-hmm.
They are not even inquiring.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a very important when they are coming into the market, and that time if it is airing, the engagement will be more.
Yeah.
That kind of inquiries or leads will be effective. So my concern is, what is the timing when it is going to impact? Because what we are learning from the inside information, the first-home buyers will be active after second quarter of the next year.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think
that is very important.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, Danny, what were you going to say?
Springtime 2023, they're going to be active again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if it is going now, it all will be futile. No one has any kind of excitement for the first-home buyers.
Mm.
Well, all this goes to air, mate. Nothing happens.
So that timing is very important. We should calculate the timing. We should watch the movement in the market. Then make the episode accordingly, which could be the first episode, which could be the second episode. What we are emphasizing.
Yeah.
This is my observation. As I'm working in the field, so I'm.
Yeah. Well,
can I also add too?
Yeah.
Could we have something like the process? A lot of people don't know the process.
Yes.
Of buying. Well, they don't know what they've got to have their mortgage approved.
Yeah.
They don't know to get a solicitor. Like all those details, and then also like some tips and tricks or some things to look to be wary of.
Yeah, that was the original. That was the
properties are the same.
Yeah.
How to inspect a property, how to do your area research. That sort of your key drivers, even.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to put that kind of thing in as far as I can remember.
I think, Diane, from my point of view, given that you guys are the experts and I'm certainly not, I bought a house once. I'll never do it again. We will go to you guys as market research in terms of how we write it and structure it once it becomes an entity. So I'll be looking at... I would more than likely come up to a face-to-face meeting with as many of you guys as I can and sort of pick your brains as to the process, how we explain that, how we get down to the nuts and bolts, what are the key takeaways, frequently asked questions, all that sort of stuff before we actually roll cameras, just so I'm as educated as I can be, so that when I go to interview these people, I know what questions I need to ask to elicit the answers we need.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that then alleviates a lot of fear, gives them more confidence then to go online.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I want to sort of try and create, so that not only does it exist on television and it airs once or twice perhaps, but it also exists online as a tool for you guys to use when you're getting new business. Rather than talk at new potential clients, you can say, I'm going to send you a link to a program based on this. Just have a look. And if you've got any questions at the end of that, let us know. So it's a good online tool once it's been to air as well.
Because even your first home, my opinion, should be bought as an investment. A lot of people just go and buy something.
Yeah.
And they miss a lot of steps that'll give them good growth. And then, they have to sell it quicker than they expected. Hopefully they can sell it off for a profit. We're
running out of time on this, by the way. I'll just give you the heads up. I could set up another meeting. Depends if everybody wants to do another one to keep going, or I could, it's up to you. Does anybody want to keep going, or have we covered enough now? Because I'll have another conversation with Danny anyway after this, probably. Has anybody got anything else you want to add?
No, I think that covers it. I think, yeah.
All right, because as I say, we're working around it based on how many people we've got buyers that we've recently done that will agree to go on the show. We can hire an office space out for a whole week and film over a week. All the interplay between us that work within the business, that's going to save a lot of money and time and energy if we all go to the same location and film that bit and get that out the way. Put that into the storyline. But the other bit that's the complicated part is to make sure that we've got the people to go into the show. That's the hard part. That's the bit we're getting people to agree and checking they're available, because you can't send a film crew out to the house if they're going to be out. You know what I mean? So we've got to sort of nail that bit down. So that's the part where I think is a little bit awkward, but we'll work around it. The other bits, no problem at all. We could do that ourselves. We can come up with a storyline, and we can also do the things that Diane's mentioned as well. Not an issue. I think that'd be very straightforward to do. We all know what happens during that process, and we can all add in what we think. So, but yeah, so we're about to run out of time. So thank you very much. It's been emotional. Oh, there we go. That's the end of that then.